Alright, here's a little bit more of an update. I got the battery tray in. You can see I've got it mounts to the transmission tunnel, and then I've got a tube clamp right here. That way I can pull the whole thing out to get the floor pans out, get the firewall out whenever I need to. The battery's up out of the way. You got room for the passenger's feet to fit under here. Also got some more cutouts done in the firewall. You see I've got cut out for the fuse block. I've got 3 holes cut out for any random stuff I need to run through, and then I got the cutouts for the ECU and the TCU. I've got the gloves covering up the ends just so I don't get any weld spatter on them. What I'm doing right now is working on the windshield frame mounting. And so I'll kind of get some video of the little trick I'm using to mount the tabs. You can see I've got half of them on. I'm going to come over here to the other side, show you how I'm doing it. Alright, so what I'm doing to make this a little easier is I've got this channel run across here, so it's right on the outside edge of the tubes. Then I can run my tab in here, keep it flush with this top edge, put the magnet inside of the channel, and then it holds the tab on. Then I can come through and weld up along the sides of it, and I'll come back later and finish weld the end of it. But that's my little trick for welding tabs on. I'll get a couple of these welded on so y'all can see it. So there's my little trick for welding tabs on. You can see it runs pretty quick. A lot easier than trying to hold it up by hand or putting whatever you want to weld up against it, then putting a tab behind it and getting that piece all nasty. But I'm going to go ahead and finish up this stuff all. I need to grind a little bit more and then finish weld it. And then I'll throw the windshield frame up here and show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to end up getting a piece of glass cut for it here in the next few weeks. And you'll be able to see the finished product for at least the windshield. Alright, the windshield frame is on now. You can see how I've got it bolted down with those tabs that welded on earlier. It's got 19, it's bolted down in 19 places, so it ain't going anywhere. I may have to space it out or something. You can see it's kind of close to the tubing there, but it's got a gap here, enough gap for the gasket. And I've only got one of the wipers on right now, but I'm using a manual wiper for a UTV that I bought off of Amazon. You can see you've got the handle here, and it uses a full-size wiper blade, or normal style wiper blade. Most of the ones that I've been seeing online look like they just basically use a squeegee, some of the hot rod kits, and they just clamp to the windshield. This one looks like it's going to work a lot better. So here we are, the windshield frame's in, the little tiny wipers on there. I'm going to start working on some gauge cluster stuff. You see I've got the fuse block mounted in there with the wire. I'm actually going to have to pull it out and take apart that whole harness and reroute things. But right now I'm going to put the gauge cluster in. Now I'm using just an old spare cluster I had for mock-up. I went ahead and cut the, you can see I cut the little warning lights off. I may remount those separately somewhere else. But the cluster is going to mount right here. I'm going to use these front tabs here. And I'm just going to weld 2 tabs on, you can see it there, 2 tabs up on this dash bar. And I made a little fixture, that way I don't melt the cluster, even though it is a spare cluster. I still don't want to melt it because the the case is good if I ever need it. But yeah, I'm gonna tack these on, set the cluster in there, see how I like it, and then I'm gonna make tabs for the top. Okay, here we are. A little bit more of an update. Got the cluster in. It's mounted. It's in there pretty stable. I've got the speedometer cable running through the firewall and into the back of the cluster there. I'm gonna end up having to get a new one. I broke the little clip on it, but shouldn't be too hard to replace that. I also got the ARB compressor mounted and the solenoid box for the winch. I went ahead and mounted the box this way. I thought about setting it up the other way around where you could get to it from the grill, but I don't like the look of the grills that have a hole in it and looks like it's missing a tooth or something. So it's gonna be set up for in-cab winch controls, so I'm not really gonna need to access that box anyway. The compressor, I need to rotate it so I can get this pointed, the air chuck pointed up. Everything rotates on there, so you can get everything pointed where it needs to be. It's just kind of sitting there for now, but it clears the grill just barely with those screws. Let me put a shorter one in there just in case on the top, because it's right at the edge there. I've also started on stripping the harness down. I'm not gonna be able to get rid of as many plugs as I thought I was going to, just because the wiring, it doesn't run, you know, wire from this plug runs back to the fuse block, wire from this plug runs to the fuse block and off to something else, so I gotta be careful with what I trim off. So I think I'm just gonna take the ones that aren't used, just zip tie them up out of the way. I think that'll be the best thing to do. I think I am gonna be able to get rid of all of this stuff on the back though. It's all stuff for the AC and for the speakers, so that'll be good. But there's the harness. I'm gonna try, before I work any more on that today, finish up the bottle mount for the coolant. I've got the one mount in there that I did quite a few weeks ago. I need to mount the other one so it's not flopping around. And then that'll be that. I started on also templates for the boat sides. See, there's one of them. I've got to get the front part done. That's gonna go fill in this section here. Then I'll get those cut out, and it's actually the same template for both sides, so that'll be easy. And then I'll get the belly pan done. I need to get that cut out as well. I think that's about all I did yesterday. I need to put a fuel filter on it, but I got the fuel pump just kind of sitting under the seat there, and I ran the fuel line also. You can see I'm reusing the factory fuel line. I just straightened it out and rerun it. It goes all the way through there and comes around, and then there, up, and then the fuel rail. We'll see if I can do the same thing with the pressure, with the feet return line. I've got the hose right here. Everything's gonna have to get new O-rings for it, but that'll work. And then brake lines will be after that, which are gonna be fun. But that's where I'm at right now. We'll get that coolant bottle mounted. Maybe I'll work on mounting the coil pack here, and then start filling with the harness. I got more relays in for the fans. I gotta figure out what to do with those, but I'm down to all the small stuff that takes a while to get done, but it doesn't look like anything was accomplished whenever you do it. So that's where I'm at right now. I'll get the camera back out whenever I have something else worth recording. Alright, so I'm about to get the ignition coil mounted. I've got this little bracket built up. It's going to sit right here, right over the fans, in between the kind of between the radiator hose and the fans here, just on this little base bar here. It's going to sit about like this. Make sure there's room to get the plug in there. Mark it real quick. Now I'll go ahead and tack this on and it'll be in place. So there's the coil mount. You can see you got plenty of room. You can get a wrench in there, tighten these up. It'll be kind of clean looking. Looks like it's in the way, but it's not really in the way for anything. It keeps the coil wire the same length. The harness will plug in the back of it. Yeah, there we go. That was I think that's the last hard thing that I've got to mount. At least I say that now. So I got compressor, relay pack, coolant bottle is mounted, it's done, and the coil there. Let's see, glass for the windshield. There's everything that's left. Maybe I can start on run fuel lines or work on the harness or something, but that was the last hard thing that I had to mount. The last mechanical thing I had to mount is really electrical, but yeah.